What if I told you that your biggest financial struggles right now aren't actually your fault? What if the real reason you can't seem to break through to the next level financially has nothing to do with your work ethic, your intelligence, or even the economy? Here's the uncomfortable truth that most people never want to face. The financial limitations you're experiencing today were programmed into you before you even knew what money was. And the people who did the programming, the ones you love most, your parents. I know that might sting a little, but stay with me, because what I'm about to share with you could completely transform your relationship with money forever. And before we go any further, if this resonates with you, hit that subscribe button, because we're going deep into the psychology of money today. And I share content like this regularly to help you break free from these invisible chains. You see, most of us think our money problems are surface level. We think if we just made more money, or if we just budgeted better, or if we just found that perfect side hustle, everything would be fine. But here's what I've discovered after years of studying financial psychology and working with thousands of people. Your money problems aren't really money problems. They're programming problems. Every single day, from the moment you could understand language, you were downloading beliefs about money, not through formal lessons or textbooks, but through something far more powerful. The emotional atmosphere of your home, the tension in your mother's voice when bills arrived, the arguments your parents had behind closed doors, the way they celebrated or stressed about paychecks, the guilt, fear, anxiety, or excitement that surrounded money in your household. And here's the thing that most people don't realize. Children don't learn through logic. They learn through emotion and observation. So when your parents said one thing about money, but felt something completely different, guess which message your subconscious mind absorbed? The emotional one, every single time. Let me give you an example that might sound familiar. Maybe your parents told you that money doesn't buy happiness. Sounds reasonable, right? But what was really happening when they said this? Were they calm and confident? Or were they stressed about bills? Were they saying this after a fight about finances? Were they trying to make themselves feel better about not having enough? Your conscious mind heard the words, but your subconscious mind felt the energy behind those words. And that energy said something completely different. It said money is a source of stress. Money causes problems. Money isn't safe. People who want money are greedy or shallow. Now fast forward to today. You're trying to build wealth, grow your business, or ask for that raise. But there's this invisible force holding you back. This uncomfortable feeling every time you think about money. This guilt when you want more. This fear of being judged. This belief that somehow wanting financial success makes you a bad person. That's not your fault. That's your programming running in the background like software you never chose to install. Before we continue, I want you to do something. Think about the last time you had to spend money on something you really wanted but didn't absolutely need. How did you feel? Did you feel excited and abundant? Or did you feel guilty, anxious, or like you needed to justify the purchase? If you felt anything other than peaceful excitement, that's inherited programming talking. And if you're finding this helpful so far, make sure to hit that like button, because I want to make sure content like this reaches more people who need to hear it. Now let's talk about the two ways you learned about money as a child. There were the explicit messages and the implicit messages. The explicit messages were the actual words your family used about money. Things like money doesn't grow on trees, or we can't afford that, or rich people are greedy, or you have to work hard for money. But the implicit messages were even more powerful. These were the behaviors, emotions, and energy around money in your home. Did your parents handle money with confidence or anxiety? Did they make financial decisions together or fight about them? Did they talk openly about money, or was it secretive and shameful? Did they model abundance or scarcity? Here's what's fascinating. You might have grown up in a home where your parents never directly said anything negative about money. But if there was constant stress, secrecy, or conflict around finances, your nervous system learned that money equals danger. Your body learned to associate financial topics with fight or flight responses. Or maybe you grew up in a home where money was abundant, but it came with conditions. Maybe love and attention were tied to achievement and earning. Maybe your worth as a person got tangled up with your productivity and financial success. Now, as an adult, you might be successful financially, but you can't stop working. You can't enjoy what you've earned. You feel guilty when you're not producing. Let me share some of the most common inherited money beliefs I see over and over again. See if any of these sound familiar. First, the fear of lack. This shows up as hoarding money even when you have enough. Constantly worrying about running out. Making decisions from scarcity even when you're financially stable. Always expecting the other shoe to drop. Then there's guilt around wealth. This is when you feel bad about having more than others. You downplay your success. You self-sabotage when things get too good. You give your money away compulsively or spend it so you don't have to feel guilty about having it. Another big one is the belief in limited income potential. This sounds like people like us don't make that kind of money, or I'm just not good with money, or I'll never be able to afford that. This creates an invisible ceiling on what you think you deserve or can achieve. And then there's associating money with conflict. If money was a source of tension in your home, you might avoid financial conversations with your partner. You might feel anxious about negotiating. You might give up too easily when it comes to asking for what you're worth, because conflict feels too dangerous. I want to pause here and acknowledge that if you're recognizing yourself in any of these patterns, it can feel overwhelming. You might be thinking, great, so I'm doomed because of my childhood? Absolutely not. Awareness is the first step to freedom. You can't change what you can't see. And make sure to stick around, because I'm going to give you a specific process for rewiring these patterns in just a few minutes. But first, let's do an exercise together that will help you identify your specific inherited money beliefs. I want you to imagine you're a detective investigating your family's money history. We're not doing this to blame anyone or create drama. We're doing this to understand the source of your current patterns so you can choose different ones. First, think about your earliest money memory. What's the first time you remember money being discussed or handled in your home? What was the energy around that moment? How did it feel in your body to witness that? Next, what phrases did you hear most often about money growing up? Write them down if you can. Things like, money is the root of all evil, or we can't afford that, or money doesn't buy happiness, or rich people are, or you have to work hard for everything. Now think about your parents' relationship with money individually. How did your mother handle money? Was she confident, anxious, secretive, generous, tight? What about your father? Did they agree about money or fight about it? Who had the power when it came to financial decisions? What was the financial atmosphere of your home? Was money discussed openly or was it taboo? Was there enough or never enough? Were financial goals and dreams encouraged or dismissed as unrealistic? Here's a big one. What did your family believe about rich people? Were they admired or resented? Were they seen as smart and hardworking or lucky and corrupt? Because whatever your family believed about wealthy people becomes what your subconscious believes about becoming wealthy yourself. And finally, what were the family rules about money? Some families have rules like always save for a rainy day, or never go into debt, or don't talk about money, or always get the cheapest option, or money should be shared with family. Take a moment to really think about these questions. I'll wait, because this isn't just intellectual. This is emotional archaeology. You're unearthing the beliefs that have been running your financial life from the shadows. If you're watching this with a friend or partner, pause the video and discuss these questions together. You'll be amazed at how different your money programming might be and how that affects your current relationship with finances. Now here's where it gets really interesting. Let's connect your past to your present. Look at your current financial patterns and trace them back to these childhood experiences. If you struggle with saving, what did your family model about saving? If you're afraid to invest, what did your family believe about risk? If you can't charge what you're worth, what did your family believe about asking for money? This isn't about making your parents wrong. They did the best they could with their own inherited programming. This is about taking your power back. Because once you can see these patterns clearly, you can choose whether to keep them or change them. Most people try to change their financial results without changing their underlying beliefs. That's like trying to change the image on your computer screen by pointing the mouse at the monitor instead of moving it on the mousepad. You're working with the effect instead of the cause. But when you address the root programming, everything shifts. Your relationship with money becomes calmer. Your decisions become clearer. Your actions become more consistent. Your results become sustainable. So how do you actually rewire these inherited money beliefs? First, you practice something I call conscious acknowledgement. This means recognizing when your old programming is running without judging it or trying to force it away immediately. Let's say you're about to make an investment in yourself, maybe taking a course or hiring a coach, and you feel that familiar anxiety and guilt. Instead of pushing those feelings down or forcing yourself to act despite them, pause and acknowledge them. See something like, I notice my inherited programming is telling me this isn't safe. I see you. I understand where you came from, but I'm choosing something different now. This creates space between you and the programming. You're not being controlled by it anymore. You're choosing your response consciously. Next, you need to install new beliefs actively. Your subconscious mind doesn't understand logic. It understands repetition and emotion. So you need to repeat new money beliefs with feeling until they become automatic. Instead of just saying, I am abundant, which might feel fake if you're broke, try something like, I am learning to trust myself with money, or I am open to receiving wealth in healthy ways, or I deserve financial peace and security. The key is finding beliefs that feel true, or at least possible in your current situation. As those become natural, you can upgrade to more expansive beliefs. You also want to create new reference experiences. Your nervous system needs proof that money can be safe and positive. Start small. Notice when money flows easily. Celebrate financial wins, even tiny ones. Practice gratitude for what you do have. Save or invest small amounts regularly to prove to yourself that you can be trusted with money. And here's something most people miss. You need to heal the emotional charge around your family's money story. This doesn't mean having a confrontation with your parents. It means processing your own feelings about how money was handled in your home. Maybe you need to grieve the financial security you didn't have as a child. Maybe you need to forgive your parents for the money stress they passed on to you. Maybe you need to release anger about missed opportunities or limiting beliefs you inherited. This emotional healing work is crucial because until you process these feelings, they'll keep sabotaging your financial progress. You can't think your way out of emotional programming. You have to feel your way through it. I also want to address something that comes up a lot when people start this work. You might feel guilty about wanting more money than your parents had. You might feel like you're betraying your family values or leaving them behind. This is normal, and it's also part of the old programming. Growing beyond your family's financial limitations isn't a betrayal. It's an evolution. It's actually a gift to your family because someone has to break the generational pattern. Why not you? And when you heal your relationship with money, you give your children and future generations a different model. Instead of passing on financial trauma, you pass on financial freedom. But here's what I want to be really clear about.